Hi all, welcome to Mind Doctor. I'm Mahalakshmi Sampson. I'm a counseling psychologist and a personal excellence life coach. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about schizophrenia. The media is now buzzing about actor Sri from Tamil cinema industry having been diagnosed with schizophrenia and all about that. But what I want to bring to your notice is that it is not just about actor Sri, but it is about all of us. Today, the media is buzzing with news of actor Sri being diagnosed with schizophrenia, isn't it? But thousands are watching, reacting, and talking about it. But I want to pause and ask, is this only about Sri? Because honestly, it is not. This is about the many others around us in our homes, our workplaces, our communities who are silently living with schizophrenia or other mental health challenges which we may not know. And authentically, I can say because, you know, I had a journey as a caregiver for a schizophrenic patient. I cared for my mother in law over 20 years, 21 years to be precise, who lived with schizophrenia for 40 years. I've seen the struggles firsthand, not just hers, but ours as caregivers too. It takes immense patience, deep compassion, and love to hold space for someone going through this. To treat them with dignity and respect in the most fragile moments is the biggest challenge, and it comes from very deep love and value for that person. And it's important for us as part of the society to understand what is schizophrenia. So, what is schizophrenia? It is a chronic brain disorder that affects a person's ability to think clearly, manage emotions, make decisions, and relate to others. Symptoms may include hallucinations, delusions, disorganized speech or behavior, and even withdrawal from reality. It is not a split personality. Many of us we are very familiar with the word split personality, but it is not that. It is not dangerous by default also, and it is not a character flaw also as many people think. With the right medical support, therapy, and a loving environment, many people with schizophrenia can live and lead meaningful lives. My mother-in-law herself lived for 40 plus years with that. And here, why does Shri's story matter? Of course, Shri's story is very painful, but it is also very powerful because it's bringing this condition, which is usually hidden behind closed doors, into public conversation. This is a moment of awareness, a chance to ask ourselves, are we noticing signs in ourselves or those around us, which is disturbing? Are we truly listening to those who are crying out in silence? Are we willing to make space for vulnerability in a success driven world? We are all very busy. We don't even have time for our well being, not for the people who are very important in our life, also. But it's very important to ask this question at this moment. Are we willing to make space for vulnerability in a success driven world? And what can you do about it? When we come to this place, actually, there are three spaces that we could be, or it could be it could be that you are struggling or someone known to you is struggling. The second one is you could be the caregiver for that person who's diagnosed with schizophrenia. Third one is you could be part of the community, right, where you see from a distance someone undergoing this sort of a challenge. Wherever you're going to be, it is very important for you to understand what is this about, so that you can take the right perspective and be a valuable contributor wherever you're going to be. So the first one is, if you're struggling, please speak to a therapist or a psychologist. Don't self-diagnose, but don't ignore signs either. And these signs could be signs of isolation, paranoia, confusion, or loss of interest in life. If you're struggling, also please know this, that you're not weak, you're not broken, or you're not alone. Schizophrenia, like many health conditions, often starts subtly. You might feel something is off, but can't explain what it is. But here are some specific signs that I would like to list down that you can watch for. The early signs, warning signs, could be the first one is social withdrawal, where you don't want to meet friends or family and you always prefer to be alone all the time. The second one is, where you experience flat emotions. What do I mean by flat emotions? Is feeling emotionally numb, where you're not reacting to happy news or you're not reacting to sad news and you receive everything the same way. Right? The next comes paranoia, that believing others are watching or plotting against you without a reason and becoming anxious because of that. The next comes confused thinking, where there is a trouble organizing thoughts or feeling like your mind is jumping around. Then comes hallucinations, where you experience hearing, seeing, or sensing things that aren't truly there. And this is what comes up where whenever there is a reference about people with mental health issues, people bully or make fun of when they talk or say things which are actually not there. But it may not be there for us, but it could be there for the people who are suffering that, and we need to honor them because it is true for them and see how we can treat them with respect, right? Then comes the delusional beliefs, that believing things that are clearly not true or logical, but feeling very convinced that they are true, and it is happening and present there. The last but not the least is difficulty concentrating or completing tasks, where you start something but you can't follow through. You see yourself beginning tasks, but you find it difficult to complete it. There is one important thing that we can observe in people who are struggling with this, is that they neglect self-care, stopping regular bathing. You can observe them not bathing regularly, not eating properly, or sleeping patterns also having been disturbed, right? Now, if you observe all these things in you or someone who is very close to you, what to do if this feels familiar? The first thing that you need to do is reach out. Talk to a mental health professional or a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or a counselor. Don't try to navigate this alone. Okay, you need help. The second one is don't self diagnose. The moment we have a doubt, immediately we get into the system, we search online, and there is a lot of information that pours out. It could be helpful for you when you're going to read it and source it in online, but diagnosis should always come from a professional only. Tell someone you trust. It could be a family member or it could be a close friend, right? But telling someone whom you trust is the most important thing, because just one person can make a big difference in getting you the support. And avoid isolation. Your mind may tell you to withdraw, get away from people. Don't be in a place where you have to talk to them, you have to communicate to them, but gently push against that and stay connected with people, which is very important. Take the first small step, right? Which means now you have to reach out, right? So what do you need to reach out? You need to book that appointment, message that friend, watch that support group video, how it can be supported, what is it that you need, because action only creates hope and not struggling in isolation. So remember that it is not your fault, it is not the end, and with the right support things can and do get better. So many of us, we may think, how can I go to a doctor and that to a mental health specialist? What people will think about me, right? It will have a big impact in my family, in my organization, and all that. But remember, mental health is just as real as physical health. If you had a broken leg, wouldn't you see a doctor? If your mind feels fractured, it also deserves the same care and cure, right? So that is very important. Now, coming to the second category, right, where you are not the patient, you are not the person who has been diagnosed with, but you could be a caregiver. To every caregiver out there, a big salute to you, because The support you're offering to people is something that cannot be measured. You may feel invisible sometimes, but your love is visible in every quiet act of patience, every sleepless night, every choice to stay in this fight. So you're not alone. You're seen, you're valued, and you deserve care too. So let me share a glimpse from my own journey, something many caregivers I'm sure may relate to. I've been a caregiver to my mother in law right from the day I have been married. So it was 21 years that she lived, and then she passed away, right? When I first came to know that she has been diagnosed with schizophrenia and is under treatment, I seriously did not even know what that truly meant. There were days when she wouldn't even recognize me or any of us, or would speak to voices that I couldn't hear. I have been the main support for her for all those times. So I used to wonder, what is this about? There were nights when I couldn't sleep, not out of fear, but out of worry. Will she be okay? Am I doing enough to take care of her? Why don't others understand what this takes? Because I used to be emotionally down many times, emotionally drained also many times. And yet, in those quiet moments, when I simply sat with her, maybe held her hand, or just made sure that she had food on her plate, something shifted for me. Not always in her, but in me. A deeper kind of love emerged, one that wasn't, dependent on words or clarity or thanks. It was beyond all that. That's the kind of love caregivers offer every single day. And I've seen my father in law extending the same throughout, right? I have been with her for 21 years, but my father-in-law has spent all the 40 years. Just imagine how much my father-in-law or my husband or my sister-in-law would have gone through, right? And it deserves to be recognized also. So if you're caring for someone with schizophrenia or any chronic mental illness, please hear me again. You're not alone. Your love is not invisible, and your well being matters too. Now, the third category, if you are part of the community, right, I request you to be kind because they need help and they need a sense of belonging. Don't miss or label people because that's the easy thing to do, but actually, it will also have an indirect impact where it would create a fear in you that in case it happens to you, what will happen, making you feel hopeless and helpless. Offer your presence, not just your advice. That's a big support that they would need. See how much you can help them without judgment, without having a need for to control, right? See how you can help them or their caregivers mentally, emotionally, and physically. Right? So let's not wait for a celebrity's diagnosis to open our eyes. Mental health is not someone else's issue. It could be ours also. Our colleagues, our friends, or our family members. As part of society now, we always have a choice. We can choose to criticize. We can choose to be harsh. We can choose to judge people like Sri from a distance. But what does that really change? Except making the world colder, isn't it? And of course, we also become colder and we become little more hopeless, right? Or also, we can choose something else. We can choose to be kind, to respond with empathy, to love even when it is hard, even when it is not understood. We can be the ones who create a sense of hope, of belonging, not just for those who struggle, but for ourselves too, right? The world doesn't need more judgment, it needs more people willing to care. So we can make the choice to be those people so that we build a society that listens, respects, and supports. Share this video to spread awareness and let's talk more into our relationship with ourselves and other things in the coming videos. Thank you.